I said, what we're going to do is start with the video of the boyfriend who's not able to read. So I'm just going to play a little bit of that, just so that we can be warmed up. You know, do you want to play it on your phone?
Not necessarily.
Okay, cool. All right. So you good? Great.
Just cue me in.
Warning, there's a woman on here. She filmed her boyfriend unable to read.
They're trying to stop you from having this case.
That ain't what they say. Read it right. Read it right.
Bait as directed. Don't switch the chart. Man, cause this shit hard, cuz.
And in the comments, she had the nerve to write, I like them rich and remedial. APS, Adult Protective Services. All right. A lot of y'all are out here on that. Let's be fucking honest. No trigger warning. A lot of y'all are out here violators, whole predators. Y'all know a man cannot read. Y'all know he cannot write. When y'all be getting into arguments, he goes into stutter city, cannot function, cannot express himself. And then the argument ends and he goes and locks himself in the room because he can't fucking read. He can't fucking talk. He can just... A lot of y'all are out here predators and violators being with these men who can't read and write because y'all are taking advantage of their human need for intimacy. So you're looking past the fact that they're not functioning.
All right. All right, I'm going to pause. Shout out to TSG Uncut with Sean C. You know, this piece came from him, you know, so I hope you enjoyed it. Basically, in the comment, she says she liked them rich and remedial, dude. What do you think about that? You know, and the fact that his brother, you know, really couldn't read. And that she laughed at him so hard.
I was saying it's sad that the black women's population look towards the black African-American male population as a place of exploitation, the same as all the rest of the groups.
Yeah, that is messed up. And, you know, at the same time, they sit up there and they complain about there are no good black men out here, but then they choose the one who you can't read, you know, but
looking for good black men. They're looking for what their expectations are. Mm-hmm. And it's the old slave mantra. I want him strong but dumb.
Wow.
Strong to be able to take care of my needs, but dumb so he's easily to control.
Look, here's my thing. Brother, if you're here listening to this video, I'm not judging. But what I am going to suggest to you is that you grab my book, Captain Smalls, The Greatest Civil War Hero, or Captain Smalls the Titan. This book will teach you how to read, will help you learn how to read. And if you look at my videos at the same time, you know, you're reading the book, you'll notice that I'm reading pages out of the book. Look, don't feel intimidated or anything like that. Don't have any, you know, insecurities because of, you know, how I read or how I talk or how my buddy on the phone, Abayomi Martin, talks. Look, we all went through the same thing you went through. We had, you know, in my case, you know, Yomi didn't have this case, but, you know, and I'll have him explain his reading difficulties, and I'll explain my reading difficulties. Look, what I had was a bunch of bullies behind me, all right? A bunch of bullies behind me, and you think that there's a bunch of dudes. Now, yeah, there were dudes out there who would, you know, call me white or whatever because I wanted to learn. But there's also girls. There were literally 3 girls who sat behind me, and when I was trying to learn, they would kick my chair, man. When I try and read or read out loud, they would kick my chair. They would call me stinky. You know, they'll call me ugly, all types of stuff. Now, you look at me. I ain't ugly, but that's what they would do. And then one of them, later on, years later, went to a pizza place out in the suburbs of Chicago. She came up to try and apologize. And I really wasn't trying to hear it. You know, after 3 years of being tortured, you know, I ain't trying to hear her apology. And she was trying to explain, well, see, my mother said that dark-skinned men, this is the time of Michael Jordan, dark-skinned men never amount to anything, all right? And I don't know how in the world her mother saying that, you know, her mother was nuts, clearly, but I don't know how in the world that translated into her sitting up there torturing a dark-skinned, you know, little brother. You know what I'm saying? That's insane. So, I wasn't trying to hear it, you know. I'm pretty much the same as Michael B. Jordan, all right? If you treated me terrible in my formative years, then I don't want to hear it, all right? You know, you look at Michael B. Jordan, and a lot of these chicks, like Randy or whatever, she'll be like, well, they should just get over it. No, it's called formative years for a reason. So you helped form me into this person that I am now that don't want to hear it from you. All right? The same thing with Michael B. Jordan. They called him, you know, corny. All right? Now he's Killmonger. Now he's Creed. You know, now he's got this new awesome period movie coming out that I'm looking forward to hear, man, and see. So, no. So, and a lot of times, you know, and I know you ladies, y'all want to hear this, and some of you dudes don't want to hear it because y'all be out doing all this positioning and stuff like that. You don't want to hear it, but it holds us back. You was kicking the back of the chairs of engineers, scientists, rocket scientists, you know, plumbers, musicians, mechanics, architects. And then you wonder, like, well, why don't we have this and why don't we have that? It's because you did something insane. We used to have to run for our lives, man. When we learned how to read, or when we bought a book. When children bought a book, whole family had to leave. Whole family had to run, pick up and run. Little girl learned how to read, whole family had to pick up and run. But let me turn it on over to Abba Yomi Martin, Yomi for short, and let him give you his experience and what he went through.
I'm not going to go too deep into my experience. We'd be on the phone all night.
I get you. Look, give them something. They're hungry. They want to know.
The thing is, you know, for me, you know, I faced two fronts. I was too intelligent for the kids. So, you know, they didn't know I couldn't read. But the bullies at that time were the teachers. You know, first of all, you know, I got, you know, so as I demonstrated any type of ability for self-thought, I got shuffled into ED classroom, which means I was emotionally disturbed. And for the, you know, first couple of years of school, you know, they just didn't teach us.
Wow.
You know, eventually some teachers took an interest, but, you know, it was a struggle fighting the system once you were into that special education side for the entire time I was in school. And even after I got out of school, you know, and learned, there was no benefits in it. And it was purely a political way to hold back any young black men to show sparks of self-thought. You know. But what I want to speak to more towards is, you know, the thought process of controlling our own narrative. You know, stories like Robert Small's stories are so important because it speaks to the self-confidence that is needed for young black men to succeed. You know, you believe you can do something, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And right now, so many of us don't even have healthy visions to aspire to. You know, when we were younger, we had a plethora of things out there to draw from, to inspire us, you know, to build upon. Nowadays, they've narrowed that down. You know, we're sitting in the middle of a rape and murder culture.
Yeah.
Where, you know, everything's back is upside down. Everything's backwards. The worst of the worst are are held up to be virtuous, and the best of the best are held up to be demonist.
Okay, if you like this video by Deshaun Thomas as well as Abayomi Martin, I want you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and follow. Plus, go to Etsy right now and buy Captain Robert Smalls, the greatest Civil War hero, or Captain Robert Smalls, the Titan, as well as we got other merch. All right, check this out. Look at this Captain Robert Smalls, the Titan t-shirt. Yeah, that's right, pure fire. As well as this Captain Robert Smalls, the Titan hat, also at the Etsy shop. Plus, Sellout shirts from Uncle Burress. Here we go. That's right. And check this one out. That's right. Okay. Now, we need to have you buy 1,000 pieces of any kind of any of this merch. We're trying to start a new franchise, a new enterprise, a new industry. All right? The link is in the description box. Go to Etsy right now. Yeah. You know, I remember you were telling me that you got some great advice from somebody in terms of being able to enhance your reading ability. What was that again? Something about...
Oh yeah, somebody at one point told me that, reading again is a habit. So if you form the habit, you will always use the habit. So just every time you see something that is, you have to read it. And in particular when you're out in the streets, you see signs all the time. There's words everywhere. Just make it a habit of always reading those words every time you see them.
Yeah.
And I picked up that habit. It came in great handy. If I'm always out there reading stuff, I also remember where those things are and all that.
Yeah. That's very true. For me, there were points in which I had to read out loud, let's say in the Boy Scouts or something like that, or in art class when I went to, a nice good, art college and stuff like that. They would require us to read out loud. And I would have to push through it. I wasn't perfect, but at the same time, eventually you get used to just being in that, in that spotlight, on that stage with everybody listening to you,
Reading out loud is an extremely traumatic experience for everybody.
Yeah.
Especially for young black men. Because we are overly criticized. They hang up on every single mistake we make. Make us feel like we're the most incompetent without any flip-flop or anything that is wrong.
Look, I remember being in art school, man, and I was reading out loud and I mispronounced the word ape. And I said something like, apps, that type of thing. This white kid from Romeoville laughed at me, nice and good and out loud. Man, that teacher was a white dude too. Man, he went in on that kid, you know what I'm saying? Actually an adult. He went in on that adult. He's like, dude, what are you doing? He's trying to read. You laughing doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anybody in this class, And at that point, that little Romeoville student, he was embarrassed because everybody was looking at him like, well, you got anything to say?
Most of the time, that's all it takes is a little correction.
Yeah.
One of the biggest crimes that have occurred in in our particular society is the fact that these teachers and these adults were just as big a part of the problem as the children were. That was a part of it.
Hey, look, those teachers, in Lewisworth and Chicago, female teacher, she wasn't correcting those girls behind me. You know what I mean? So those girls knew that they could get away with it. And so that just charged them up even more. And there was really nothing I could do because what I wanted to do was get up and crush each and every one of them. one by one or all three at the same time. But that would have meant that not only would I be in the principal's office, but they would have taken me out of that school in handcuffs. I saw that happen to other little young black males, and in this particular black male who got taken out in handcuffs, man, he was very fair skinned. But what happened to him was they took him out in handcuffs, and his mother transferred him out of the school to university lab school instead. So took him out of the school, the lower end school, to a private school, to a higher end school. So it was like his mother had money, so he got an absolute upgrade. All right, and deal well with his life ever since after that. What she was like is, I'm gonna get you away from those niggers over there into a place where you're gonna be able to shine. Now, what I had to do was, one more thing. What I had to do was ignore all of it. You dig? And fight through it. And not do what the other brothers did, which was give up. Become cool. And cool don't mean that you can read or write or comprehend anything. Cool just means you can dance, you wear cool clothes, you can order a drink at the bar.
A lot of glitzy, glamorous stuff that was pure poison. It's like I started to realize we were all kings and queens. It's a poisonous statement.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes a lot from us. All the inventions that are the foundation of everything we use comes from our people.
Mm-hmm.
If we're all kings and queens, we're the inventors.
True.
We're the poets. We're the philosophers. We're the engineers. We're the sewage maintenance workers.
Mm-hmm.
We were some of the first people to build sewage systems. How important sewage systems are?
I would say extremely important. Now, people who can't people who can't think past a hot pocket, they don't see it as important. But if you don't got proper sewage, your house is going to be effed up. It's going to be stinking. You're probably going to have a lot of disease going on through you and through your body and through your neighbor's body. But go ahead.
If you ain't got proper sewage in your city, or you only one disease city.
Yeah. It's just like
bubonic plague is why, improper sewage is why.
Yeah. Lack of clean water is why. You dig?
So, we're sold these weird ideologies, and they're packaged very nice, so it sounds wonderful, but they're poisonous.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, the reason the reason why I want this brother to grab Captain Smalls, the greatest Civil War hero, or Captain Smalls the Titan, is because one of the drawbacks in terms of reading is that in school, and you remember this in the 80s and 90s in history class, you had to read about ancient Greece, Rome. You barely knew that Carthage was black, you know what I'm saying? So at that point, you read, and also American history. You're learning something that you really don't care about. But if you have in front of you writing and artwork about your people and what they went through and the adventures that they went on, the battles and all that great stuff, then you are able to really absorb and really read. What are you about to say?
I love the fact that Robert Smalls actually has a story that lasts. His life story goes beyond 30-something years old.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. There's no, and then they killed him explanation on the man's life.
Right.
We have so many black people that have done great things and they do not have, and then they killed the explanation
right
on the end of their life.
Right. I mean, my biggest pet peeve, as soon as I mention Harold Washington, that, a black person would say, they killed Harold, right? Like, dude. First of all, you done killed the conversation. We can't go nowhere after that. because he done depressed me and everybody else around us. But go ahead.
I started to realize, though, they developed that thought process, that sickness, earnestly. Every year, we get marched through a death parade of Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
Our Black History Month is just full of torment and death.
True.
We brought you over here in chains. Look at you die. We separated your families. We wouldn't let you sit at the lunch counters. We've starved you out. We chased you out of your towns. We buried you. We lynched you. We ate you.
Yeah. And exactly.
And that is the only history that we are given.
Look, one of the best pieces of news today was that we got an email back from one of the schools in the Carolinas. I'm not going to say which Carolina because I'm going to keep my people protected. But they emailed back saying, look, can you do an author presentation? And I'm like, absolutely I can. To speak to these kids? Yes. To talk about Captain Robert Smalls? Yes. You know? So, you know, it's happening. You know, my people get it. They're like, we need this. We don't need the same, you know, depressing stories going on through Black History Month. We need something brand new.
The same inaccurate, you know, when I found out how inaccurate certain stories were, like the Shaka Zulu story that they made such a big deal out of.
Yeah.
Which most of it was a complete fabrication.
Man, they had us locked into that story for about a week, man. Like, you know, you don't want to miss episode this and episode.
It was a week-long miniseries that led up to a massive massacre that never actually happened.
Exactly. They always lead us into this garbage. You know what I'm saying? This massive death and, you know, shooting people up with machine guns and, you know, the same thing with Glory. Remember they took us to see Glory? You know?
There was a school trip to see Glory to watch these people run in and get their heads blown off by cannon fire for the salvation of some white man's
ego. His failure. His ego and his failure.
His courage. He needed to prove that he had courage.
Right.
He got all his men killed for no reason.
All these black men killed. Denzel Washington, Andre Brower.
About the story of Glory so much.
Morgan Freeman.
The story of Glory so much. The actual fort that they were trying to take. The war ended. They never took that fort.
Wow.
Yeah,
All for naught.
In the real Civil War saga of that fort, they never took it.
Yeah.
So why pick this particular? You know, someone writes these stories. Right.
You know, I was sitting up here worried, you know, for real, like, you know, are black people shying away? Are my people shying away from the Robert Small story because he was a stand-up dude? He wasn't murdered, you know, or, you know, lynched in the end. You know, his family wasn't murdered or lynched in the end. His friends too. You know, are they afraid of not being victims? Are they afraid?
I don't know, but you know, I don't want to see any more stories like 8 Angry Men. You know, where you know, they introduce you to a character, you kind of fall in love with the character, and then they do something insidiously awful to the character right in front of you, vividly. You know, and like castration.
Right. This brother wins. And then when you put it all together, it took me a while to put it all together. You know, I'm drawing on the last book in the series, and I'm realizing this dude actually was part or as a whole. This is why he was so popular. This is why he was like the first, you know, superstar, was the fact that he actually freed all of black people in America. All right? Now, I know a lot of people like, no, that's not possible. A lot of people fought that war. Dude, every time you watch, let's say Star Trek or Star Wars, do they not credit Captain Kirk for winning that whole battle or saving the Earth? So why wouldn't Smalls be credited with that? That's insane, right?
He's definitely one of the inspiring milestones that accomplished it.
Yeah, but you don't remember no other captain, right? In Star Trek, it was always Captain Kirk. It was Captain Kirk and Spock. All right. Now think about this. How about Star Wars? You know, don't they credit Luke Skywalker for blowing up the Death Star along with the help of Han Solo? You know, I mean, yeah, there was Wedge and Biggs and all those other people. You know, some androids up in there. You know, Princess Leia. I get all that, but in the end, who do you really remember? You know, who did they put on the poster? You know, holding up the big lightsaber and everything, while holding on to what turned out to be a sister, but Princess Leia. It was Luke Skywalker.
Well, I know one thing we certainly agree on. Luke Skywalker shot the shot that blew up the Death Star, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they left a lot of questions unanswered with that whole series. So, you know, later on they go back and they introduce you to the story of the people who died to get the information to give to the people who got it there for Luke Skywalker to be able to make that final shot.
Right.
And our story as Black folks is not told. And this gives us such a wonderful opportunity to tell it.
Well,
most of what we've been told has been fabricated, and all those historical figures are still sitting there waiting to be discovered. You know, just like I love the connection that you all made between Robert Smalls and Harriet Tubman. I'll let you talk about a little bit about that.
You know what? Before we talk about Tubman and Smalls, let me go ahead and triple and quadruple down about what I was saying about Star Trek. All right? Look, here's the thing. Whether you're talking about Cisco and being a captain on Deep Space Nine, or where you're talking about Picard on Next Generation, where you're or you're talking about Janeway when it came to Voyager, when you're talking about Burnham when it comes to Discovery, okay? When you're talking about Pike when it comes to Strange New Worlds, or you're talking about, you know, the captain on Lower Decks. Look, the thing is that when it comes to those stories being told, those captains are credited with saving the Earth, saving the solar system, saving the galaxy. Well, that's the same thing when it comes to Captain Smalls. I'm going to credit him with winning the Civil War and freeing all those Black people, him, his crew, and his ship, just like what they do with Star Trek. All right? So, you know, whatever. Scotty, Paris, or, Harry Kim, whatever. Geordi, all that, it is him who is credited with winning everything. So I'm giving that directly to Captain Robert Smalls and Samuels and the rest of his crew. All right? I'm giving it to them for the Civil War. Yeah. Look, the thing about Harriet is, yes, she formulated an underground railroad. She kept running back, grabbing and freeing Black people. All right? And she ended up on those same shores with Robert Smalls in that same area. Now, what was going on in Beaufort, in South Carolina? Well, we're talking about Robert Smalls, which, ironically, he was part of the Army, when it came to the Union. Even though he was piloting a Navy ship, even though he was captain of a Navy ship, he was Army because of racism. They didn't let Black people, be Navy, but he could be Army. So, so he was able to, continue on as a captain. But being part of the secret societies out there, him and the rest of the Army would go on periodic raids of plantations, and they would free black people, and they would come back, and when they brought these free black people, freedmen, when they brought these freedmen back, do you know that the black churches would sing songs to these newly freed people, feed these newly freed people, and they would just have a big party and celebration, man, you know? And that's some of the similarities with Harriet Tubman. Now, I'll say this last thing about Harriet Tubman before I let you speak, but they always said, well, she had that shotgun, you know, for those Negroes who would, you know, want to, you know, get out of line and run back to the plantation. Now, the thing is that she never used that shotgun on any black people. But she would use that shotgun on white people. So that's why they would tell the story like, well, she had that shotgun so she could get those Burresses, if you will. Well, go ahead.
We know that in every story that we've been told up until this point has been tainted by racism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ramses is evil. You know, actually I look back at the Ramses dynasty and look at the things that Ramses did. You know, and, you know, it's just like, he was such a monumental figure, and it is almost blasphemous to, you know, how badly his name has been smeared.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a normal thing, you know. Norma, who united all of Northern Africa, which they still won't really give him credit for. You know, they still try to tell us Mesopotamia is the oldest society, but how could it be the oldest society if it was Norman that came out of the South 2,000 years before that and united it all?
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up with the name Menace.
Yeah.
Or rather, the definition of the word menace came from Norma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there is always that little taint up in there, you know.
When they write our stories, or when they have creative control over our stories of what is released, what we get is indoctrination. We get things that are going to minimize us, things that are going to cut at our self-esteem. And, you know, and it's even more detrimental when we buy into these stories and we start playing around with the psychology as we have.
Mm-hmm.
First place you get called a African monkey, a booty scratcher, or something like that is on the playground.
Yeah. Well, that is a big truth. You know, the Africans think that they think that they was the only ones being called the African booty scratcher. We were all being called the African booty scratcher. And I'm not trying to give anybody a pass for their bullying on the playground at all. But, you know, it is a problem. It is a problem that needs to be corrected. You know, we got to do a lot more of, you know, cheering each other on. You know,
we're so late on so many of our problems. A lot of that is where the problem lies. Is the complacency. So used to it, it's normal. Like bullying. Yeah. Bullying is not normal. But in this society, we treat it as it's normal.
Yeah.
We've dropped all practices that were past practices to manage it. And now we're having stuff like, you know, life is cheap now.
Yeah.
You know, children are in danger nowadays. You know, these are all things that have been normalized in our society today. I keep talking about these video games where, you know, you kill and you commit horrible crimes, sexual crimes and everything else, and you get points for these things.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the movies, you see the same thing. You listen to the music. You know, we're wondering why we're watching videos where black women are fetishizing slave master stuff and going on dates and accepting these racist white men into their lives.
Okay, shout out to 200 Acres as well as O'Shea Duke Jackson for this upcoming content. And go ahead and give 200 Acres that 1,000 subs he's looking for his new channel. And for me, like, share, subscribe, comment, and also follow. And again, share. See
you this weekend if you don't have plans. Woo! It's getting spicy! I can show you better than I can tell you. Come on, gang.
So she asked him, are you an actual KKK member? And he goes, I can show you better than I can tell you. And she's still talking to the dude.
Come on, gang. Okay. I like that. Lynching on the first date is crazy. Not gonna lie. We gotta take baby steps.
Wait. He says lynching on the first.
What? That hurt. Y'all see what I'm talking about, right? We got, hey, the comment section right there. We got some explaining. Y'all got some explaining to do. You hear me? Y'all got some explaining to do.
Date is crazy, but we got to take baby steps. Let's see what she says.
Don't get me too excited. Normally I strap up, but I would definitely take it off for you if that's what you're implying. I'm capping crazy. I just got burned.
So wait a minute. She asked him, do he be clapping cheeks raw? So instead of basically just being like, look, the dude says you can suck the racism out of me, she's supposed to just stop talking to the guy. And she's like, type-ish. Do you be clapping cheeks raw? Like, they would never let a black dude talk to them crazy like this.
I'm low-key kind of embarrassed, bro. Like, a lot of people, they be like I said in the comments, I posted a picture of my wife. My wife is Hispanic. And they say, one of the comments says, oh, I just knew you weren't with a black woman. Bro, let me tell y'all something. And I told y'all this a million times. The only reason I ain't with a black woman because black women ain't like me. I rock with who rock with me. That's what I always tell y'all. You hear me? I guess that's what they wanted, huh? They didn't want me. They wanted this. Come on, man. That's crazy. This low-key. I'm low-key embarrassed, bro. No lie.
Normally when we get hate messages, it's literally black women. She said, oh look, another picking on black women. So let's try to cook something up. Oh look, another black queen who wants master roleplay. LMAO. And send. Over or under? Over or under? She's typing. Oh my god, she's typing. Okay. She's just playing hard to get a little bit. What's black people's favorite seasoning, would you say? What if I put some lemon pepper on it? Question mark. Would that make up for the size? Okay, she's typing. How'd you know I love lemon pepper? Come on. Who are you? Come find out. Text me, love.
Peppers.
Come find out. Text me, love. I'm not on here a lot. Do you like white boys for real? Or is this like a fetish? Maybe it's a fetish. I'm okay with that, period. I fetishize y'all as well, TBH, so that's cool with me. Want to FaceTime or something? I'm bored. Has anyone ever made you like pee?
No.
Really?
No, I mean, that's no.
I know we just...
Wait a minute. Did he just say that anybody or pee?
Want to FaceTime or something? I'm bored. Has anyone ever made you like pee?
No.
Really?
No, I mean, that's no.
I know we just met, but how would you...
All right. This white guy, he ain't got to have a bomb-ass car. He ain't got to have a bomb-ass house. She ain't asking him, you know, how much you gonna spend on a date, you know. It could be free and everything take place in the alley as far as she's concerned. I mean, I'm looking at the video and I'm like, dude, this is wild. You know, and the hoops and criteria for the brothers is insane. But go ahead, what you was gonna say?
To the music today. This is the exact behavior. It is saying it's okay.
Look.
It's saying this is what you're supposed to be interested in.
Look, I don't know what these brothers, and I blame the brothers from our generation and the generation previous for literally giving up their pride, giving up their self-esteem and their dignity. You know, they want to do anything for the smell or the touch or the feel of a hot pocket. Anything. They will throw their fellow brother under the bus. They will They will blast at them. They'll try and run him over. You know, they'll try and dog him out. They'll try and, you know, say that he's, you know, of an alternative lifestyle or whatever. They'll do all that in order for them to feel some hot pocket. And I'm like, dude, where's your dignity? I mean, even when looking at the video of these sisters doing anything and everything, and this white guy's having a blast, sitting up there, look, I can say anything to him. I can say, you can suck the racism up out of me. They're saying anything, you know, or he's saying anything and they going for it, you know, and it's like, all he is white. But at the same time, you brothers, wait, listen to what I'm saying. You brothers are, you know, you always positioning yourself, throwing other brothers under the bus, you know, for something that don't even want you. And what do you position yourself? What do you position yourself for? To spend $300, $600 on a date? You know what I'm saying? Spend $6,000 on a trip somewhere? I mean, you literally burning your black wealth. For what? And they're giving it away to someone who is absolutely racist for nothing. But go ahead.
Here's the deal. One of the phenomenons that's happening in our culture, so big right now, it's insane, is how cheap each individual is.
Mm-hmm.
We're so thirsty for wealth. We're so thirsty for white privilege, to be close to the higher echelons of the white world.
Mm-hmm.
That we're very cheap nowadays, and we're willing to commit ourselves to strange acts.
Man, I don't understand why, you know, these brothers just can't build it on their own. So many others have figured out how to build it on their own. In other words, Motown is a prime example. Man, the amount of hits, the amount of stars, you know.
Well, Motown didn't get built on its own. That's the thing, you know. There's so much Jewish money in Motown, it's ridiculous.
Well,
because, you know, the thing about it is there is no true on your own. We know this.
Well,
the closer you can get is Triple X. You see Triple X. You got Soulja Boy 2. A few other people, you know, the same reason why Michael Jackson and Prince did stop signing contracts.
Well, I want you to be
platforms where we don't need their distribution.
Look, I want you to be careful about, you know, don't flatten the achievements like Motown, because at that point, what do we got? Because every time when we have a decent achievement, you know what I'm saying, we start giving credit to other people, white people, and then we're crediting people for our great successes, and at that point we start to crash out. So what I'm saying is like, you know, like for instance in Chicago we had a great awesome first black mayor, and then a brother will say, well, you know, they deleted Harold, right? And it's like, dude, brother, why? So in the end, you really can't talk about, you know, what he did for black people and how great it was that he was the first black mayor, because you just stuck in trying to explain to this dude, like, look, there's no evidence of that. And he's going to be like standing on the square. It's like the you know, that person is like it's a game. It's like the first person who says, and these are grown people, it's like the first person who says he was deleted wins the game. And it's like, dude, we can't have a discussion. So we just have to stop doing stuff like that. You know, as soon as we say, you know, a great thing, you know, that black people did, we can't deflate it. All right? So we just got to stop doing that.
Well, I'm not flattening the achievements of Motown. You know, during that time, we know that, what's his name? It's been a long time coming.
What, Marvin Gaye?
No, not Marvin Gaye. Change gonna come.
Sam Cooke?
Sam Cooke, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Cooke was forward in his time, and unfortunately he met his end. But he didn't get to finish his distribution network that he was trying to build.
Mm-hmm.
And until the until we got the internet platforms, we didn't have a window into distribution. So therefore, we only had so much control. I have labels, but I can't have my own distribution.
Right.
So, like right now, Soulja Boy probably is ahead of the curve of everybody else, or in that type of independence. So is Master P. There's a reason why Master P at one point, had some type of promotions out there outside of himself, and now, as he doing it, they ain't getting nothing. There's a lot of work that goes into keeping us from having our own platforms.
Yeah.
That are unattached. Because when you have your own platform that's unattached, that's independent, you can put out what you want to put out.
Look, I remember
that controlling your own narrative. That's what we need to build.
Look, I remember seeing the Little Richard documentary, man. And one of these, white people said, man, we even tried to, hold back his royalties so that he would stop trying to get his money. What? Does that make any sense? And they thought that they were really being friends, and really being good associates with Little Richard.
I remember some of the stuff that happened between Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney back in the day over their work back then, and how Mike got shut out of getting paid. So, and John Lennon got caught stealing Chuck Berry's music.
Yeah. Heck, in that documentary, was it Pat Boone? He was stealing everything that Little Richard was putting out. I mean, everything, And it was interesting that it was the white kids. They were the ones who shut Pat Boone down. All right? They're like, look, we want to hear it from the source. We don't want to hear your, I don't know, your
version of it.
Yeah, your downy version of it. You know what I'm saying? We want to hear it come out that jukebox from the real artist, not some strange downy rinsed out version, of great music. You done, man, oh my God, you done turned into some, you done took, cane sugar and turned into this the strange addictive crack type sugar, that we really doesn't give us any what do you call that, any nourishment at all.
Like Tom Jones's version of Kiss.
Right. What the heck was that?
They tried so hard to popularize that, man. They played the shit out of it.
Man. Yeah.
It just made people mad.
Yeah. Yes. Man, there's so much we could talk about. Man, it'll have all of New Jersey and Boston coming after us. You know what I mean? Because some of these artists, man, and that was the thing. Some of these white artists back during that time, they were big time thieves, and they would snatch black music and then make millions off of it and truly act like it was theirs, and then act like the black artist stole it from them.
This is quite a story in himself, because they created an entire production team. They had the one black guy who was writing all his music and teaching them all the dance moves. So that whole production team on creating Elvis, and Elvis was probably the prototype of the boy bands and everything that came later. Where they did this completely studio built artist.
Yeah.
And then they play these people off like they're real. And it's hilarious to me.
A little bit off, but I want to ask you, about Smalls, in particular the scene in which, Burress actually has a conversation with Samuel's wife. And basically what he does is he kind of just gets into her head, about he felt that, Samuels would be a better captain than Robert Smalls. And then after that, she went on up there to talk to her husband Samuels and to convince him to throw Smalls under the bus. And what do you think of that? Because in the end, Smalls ends up there overhearing the conversation.
Well, you know what? What's interesting about that scene is it seems like it's going to go somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets snuffed, basically. All the energy gets snuffed out of the scene the moment her husband basically disregards her statement and says, "Listen, you need to stop talking to Burress."
Mm-hmm.
And that actually is the beauty of the scene, because it shows how, nowadays that's not, he would have tried to cater to her emotions. Get simped out, it'd have been a problem, and the drama and all of that. But all that drama, potential drama, got snuffed out because the man stood on his laurels and his ethics. So I like that scene in the book.
Yeah, I'm glad, man, because it's like one of those things, like you start to realize like the difference between the people during that time period and now. Like for instance, Smalls married Hannah, and Hannah had 2 children, previous to their marriage. And I know that those women back in that time were grateful that a man would come in and step into that position. These days, they ain't grateful at all. They're so arrogant,
We are very broken in many ways, Back in the day, my stepfather Carl took on my mom and her 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a lot to let me and Yinka know that we were his kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And also he did a lot to let us know that when Buddha Kaiwa came along, that even though there's this thing where they're supposed to be our half brothers, but no, those are your brothers. That half stuff don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And we allowed the propaganda of this country to seep into our households and fracture our family unity. And this is not a mistake. This is not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
This is very direct and very purposeful. In a pocket of time in this country's history, we were doing better than most people in this country.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell us about that history. They only tell us a fraction of that history. They can tell us about Black Wall Street, which in itself is a slap in our face.
Yeah.
Tulsa, Oklahoma was one of our most prominent towns. We didn't trade stocks and bonds in the town. The first place we were sold in stock and bondage was Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you'll tell us about Tulsa, but you won't tell us that was a period that we were at war. Well, we didn't know we were at war because they waged a secret war against us, where all our towns were being taken from us. All our wealth was being stolen from us from one end of the country to the next.
Yeah. And let me say this too, because you're absolutely correct. But let me underline it with this as well. Is in the same scene with Smalls. The narration reads like this: is Smalls is standing outside of the wheelhouse. Just ate dinner, has a chicken bone in his mouth. Because he's a person, right? But it reads this: Robert was stuck and didn't want to interrupt Samuel's and Jacqueline's conversation. But Robert was about to find out if Samuels was loyal to him or loyal to the whims of his own wife and Burress. Dude, do you know how poignant that is? Especially in today's society? Beyond you, I can't imagine too many friends who wouldn't, kiss his woman's tail and F everything up. F getting to freedom. F everything up. Because he just has no self-pride or self-esteem or any dignity, and he's been raised a certain way to go ahead.
Think about today and the fracture amongst our families and our friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think about the ordeal where they're collecting fruits, vegetables, and things like that, selling stuff and stuff like that, and squirreling away money so much they get a big old mattress of money. Think about the calamity amongst these families nowadays the moment that type of money comes into visibility and they all want to put their hands on it.
Yeah.
Would they have made it to creating a plan to escape and to escape with the money?
Right.
Or would someone's personal greed get involved and destroy the plan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True. You raise a valid point, man. And that's why I love this part where Smalls, and he's a young guy, he's in his early 20s. About time he's on the planner, he's like 23 years old. So, his young daughter asks him, Daddy, are we rich? And he replies, he's like, youngin', we're going to buy our freedom, and then we'll all be together, and that's going to make us rich. All right? So I think that's what you're saying in terms of like family and how we were infiltrated and then we were changed into something else. In Small's mind, being free and being left alone, and that's the thing. I listened to some of Roland Martin and his panelists and stuff like that. Now, I got disagreements here and there, but at the same time, they bring something important to just the thought process of Black people. Is that the main thing that we always wanted was to be somewhere and then be left alone, And I think I translate that, very well into him saying, look, us being a family, that's what makes us rich, But don't be fooled. Robert ain't no fool. Neither is Hannah, and neither the kids. All right? They know that money's important. That's why he's able to negotiate. And that's why I would say white people have been mad ever since Robert Smalls.
I find it interesting. At this point, Black people do not have a problem with finance as far as how much money we're able to make. We have a problem with managing those finances because and we have no group to manage those finances within. So, we spend on average $1.3 trillion in America every year. We're more than any other ethnic group in America, more than white folks, more than Latin folks, more than Chinese or Indian or anybody else. That tells you that we don't have a problem making money.
True.
But what also tells you is we have a problem managing that money. We don't have a nation. We don't support each other as far as our businesses, so we don't have a strong financial market that is Black. So we take all our money and we put it right back into
Look, this
the
is
very economy that is holding us back.
Look, the money trickles in, and there's a Black woman, on my author forum, and I say I'm just part of an author forum, right? And there's a Black woman who had a 6-year-old daughter who wanted to write a children's book, and so they put together a children's book, put it on out there, right? but the money comes in a trickle. She got everything. 6-year-old, you know, who's ambitious, and herself, black woman. And she said she was able to get 250 sales on the outset, and then another 500 doing, you know, school visits and stuff like that. All right, so she got 750 sales. Now, meanwhile, and remember, there's 47 million black people in America. So let's just cut it in half. Bam. We'll just say half of them are children. So we'll say 23.5 million are adult black people. All right. 750 sales. But the white people, they put out a book with some animals or whatever in it, and they get 13,000 sales on rip. She can't even break 1,000, but they get 13,000. And you know, there's this thing called, TBR, to be read. In other words, these people will buy books and they'll put them on the shelf and they'll be like, I'll read it later. Or their kids will read it later. It'll be to be read later. Now, black folk, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of balloon pop and everything, and I'm not saying don't watch balloon pop. I'm not saying don't watch all the relationship videos, and all this stuff. I'm not saying don't go out on dates. But I'm like, y'all gotta be able to put together some finances for education and learning how to read. I mean, literally, the reporters and people like the readers and stuff like that, they're begging black people to read more. But let me put it to you in this perspective. The great Tertel Ali passed away just recently. And, he's the creator of the Black Age of Comics. And there was a piece written about him, before he passed, where they were like the most, they called him the most underrated artist out there. And he's like, look, I'm still alive and I'm out here. But, the art studios and stuff like that, they're not calling me up to bring my art down, to showcase my art. So, you can call me underrated, but where are you? Okay? Now, that's one thing that he said. The other thing he said, and this is, around the time he created the Black Age of Comics, he took his comics to, and he didn't name the, the outlets which he took it to, but, there were pretty much two, all right? Marvel and DC. And these people said something absolutely racist to him. But we have to really look at it, all right? They said, do black kids read? And he had no real answer. So he created the Black Age of Comics. Now, I'm going to say this here. That was probably about 30 years ago, okay? In which this happened to him, okay? So, do black kids read? Are black parents buying them books written by black people? Or are they looking for, white approval and the book that white people approve? What's going on? Because I'm looking at this woman who was able to get 750 sales, and then looking at white people who just put out anything and they're getting 13,000 sales. Again, she's not breaking 1,000. It's a trickle for her. It's a trickle for me. So what, as black people, are you concentrating on? Are you purchasing? And then if they're saying, well, the black children or whatever are underperforming when it comes to reading. Are you buying them books written by black people? Are you buying them books? What's going on? So I'm just gonna leave it there. Y'all ponder that. Y'all ponder why. And if all this stuff is gonna be merit based now, think about what you're doing. Make it make sense. All right, y'all. Yeah, Yomi is signing off. He'll be back in the next video where we talk about DEI, merit, and more industry building. All right. And yes, adults should buy Captain Robert Smalls the Titan as well. these projects are just not for kids, okay? Look at it this way. Mufasa, Lion King, adults can go see those movies. So you want to purchase books like this, graphic novels like this. Adults are buying graphic novels all the time, so don't limit yourself as black people like, well, it has words and pictures. Nobody else is limiting themselves. They got compendiums just as big as this world that other people are buying. In fact, I'll grab one and show it to you. Do you see this? Do you see this? Check this out. This, it's like a brick. It's like a brick. This is the milestone compendium, okay? Now, that's not all. Let's take a look. That, you know, the milestone is by black people. And here, okay? Like a brick. This is the invincible compendium, okay? But what do you think's gonna happen? Huh? What do you think's gonna happen? You think your kid's gonna beat the kids who's reading this? Huh? You think your kid is gonna beat the kid that's reading this? It ain't happening. It ain't happening. So that's why you wanna get them started out, man. And my compendium is gonna be thick too. It's not gonna be as thick as this, but it's gonna be pretty thick. It's gonna be 3 times, because it's 3 books. It's gonna be 3 times the thickness of this one. So you gotta get on ball. Or I can put it this way. As an adult, you think you're gonna beat out the adult that's reading a book this thick? Huh? Alright? How about this one? I mean, look, they're gonna be practiced way harder, way better, and just killing the game. Alright? I think I made my point. All right, y'all. If you like this video by Deshaun Thomas and not by Yomi Martin, I want you to like, subscribe, share, follow, and share, all right? Now, also, we got a lot of merch at the Etsy shop. We're trying to sell 1,000 pieces, okay? To start this new industry, this new franchise, this new enterprise. And check out some of the merch we got here. We got this fly Captain Smalls hat, as well as this Captain Robert Smalls, the greatest Civil War hero, graphic novel, as well as Captain Robert Smalls, the Titan. Now, check it out. Look at this shirt. Also available at the Etsy shop. Super fly, super fire, all right? Captain Robert Smalls, the Titan t-shirts available at the Etsy shop. Plus, brand new to our Etsy shop, Uncle Burress Sellout t-shirts, baby. Check this out. Look at these sayings right here. Yup. And that's not all. I got another one for you. I mean, he said some wild stuff, but here we go. That's right. You see that? Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and read some of these to you. These are available at the Etsy shop. We're trying to sell 1,000 pieces. Get this industry, this enterprise popping. But check this out. Here's Uncle Burress. Negative is my positive. I don't like nothing you do. You keep trying. I hate that. I hate talent. I don't support nothing darker than a paper bag. And y'all know this dude is darker than a paper bag. How about this one? On the black t-shirt, all right? I hate the back of your neck. I hate your perfect teeth. I hate the lining and the woolly shape of your hair. I hate the dark center line on all your Negro bodies. All right, all this merch is available at our Etsy shop. The link is in the description box. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, and share. you.